On this week's Don't Panic, we talk about the news from Facebook's F8 Developers Conference, including app links, anonymous login, and the audience network, and talk what really is Facebook these days. We also talk about updates to Snapchat and the splitting of Foursquare into two apps. We also talk about a redesigned OS X. We do our picks, some trivia. It's a fun episode. You're going to want to stick around. Don't Panic is next. This is Don't Panic, episode number 45, recorded May 5th, 2014, on Foursquare's Big Split, Snapchat Mania, and what is Facebook? Hello, and welcome to this, our 45th episode of Don't Panic, the technology show that infringes on all the patents. Yes, we invented Swipe to Unlock. I'm Sean Jennings, and I'm joined by the Ben and Jerry of technology. They take a mediocre product and pack real chunks of flavor into it. That, of course, would be Dan Miller and Colby Rabidou. How's it going, guys?
What's our ice cream flavor? The three of us, the show. What is Don't Panic?
We need a Don't Panic. It would be like I don't know. What do you guys like? Like Don't Panic peanut butter explosion?
Peanut butter pistachio palooza.
You're just gonna mix all the P things together. Oh my gosh.
Did you say that episode 45?
Today is episode 45 for May 5th, 2014.
Jesus. Are we gonna have we should have a midlife crisis soon?
Well, about a month from this week is our 1 year anniversary, so it's coming up.
Wow.
What? Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it was early June.
Oh,
it was after we graduated. Yeah.
Yeah, so early June, and it's also important to note that this week is another special occasion. Hi! It would be the birthday of one of our very own. Isn't it your birthday this week, Colby?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, see?
Oh, yeah.
Boom, celebrate.
Cinco de Mayo festivities.
Holiday, celebrate.
It's like Cinco the day before my birthday. That's today.
It's not quite as catchy.
6 de Mayo. Well,
the Colby de Mayo.
Yeah, Colby de Mayo. I also like Cinco de Colby, which is just 5 of Colby.
Yes.
That's
At
true.
the end of the night, that's how many Colbys you'll be seeing.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you know you had a good time. I like it. All right, let's jump along, and why don't we just move into the top story? Why don't we?
Sure. What do we decide? Oh, damn it!
It's fine. Talk through, Colby. It's theme music. You can talk through it. That doesn't faze me.
Sean, you have to have a little light behind you or something that turns on.
I'll just
like,
wave.
When something.
I'll do a shh.
Bad UX, man. Bad UX.
Let's talk about this week's top story. It seems like longer than just a week ago, but it happened right after our show taped. And that would, of course, be Facebook's F8, or Fate, conference took place in the California, and they made a keynote announcement headed up by Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of the Facebook, and he announced a couple new things for the company, and we got a little highlight of a few of them. So let's start with anonymous login. So, as you know, on essentially these days, almost every app and website, there's login with Facebook, where you click the login with Facebook and it authenticates you using your Facebook credentials. But sometimes when you're trying out an app for the new time, a new app for the first time, you may not want to give it your full credentials or full access to your Facebook page. So Facebook is introducing a log in anonymously button. The same anonymous login data can be synced across devices. So what it does, if I understand this correctly, and I hope I'm corrected, is that while it doesn't tell the app developer information about you, it does give you a unique identifier. So while they don't know you're Sean Jennings, they know you are an individual, and they can still sync your credentials over devices without having your specific personal data.
Right. It's like, I don't know. It's like signing up for something without giving them your name.
Yeah, it's like a random identifier that means nothing to the app developer, but means something to Facebook.
And it's also, it might be obvious, but it's probably good to point out that Facebook knows that you're using that app still.
It's anonymous in one direction.
Yes, what a fantastic point. They've also gone ahead and expanded how you give access to your information to apps. Currently, it's pretty much just an all or nothing depending. But right now, what they're going to allow you to do is share individual aspects of your profile, whether it be your likes, your birthday, your email address, your friends list, your public profile, and you can select those as you go through. So if you're not comfortable, for example, sharing your birthday, but you are willing to share your email, you can now pick and choose what you're going to be sharing with individuals.
And that is good.
And that is good. And I thought that was one of the most telling things about the announcement was, when Mark Zuckerberg he came out, I mean, he was honest and frank and said, one of the big problems we have is that people don't trust us. And I absolutely agree with him. And I think, at least in a PR on the surface kind of way, again, Dan, as you said, they still know what you're doing and they still have all that information. But at the very least, it's a step in the right direction of saying, we're not trying to screw you over. We're not trying to steal your information. I mean, how do you guys think this impacts Facebook's standing with the community and its so-called lack of trust?
I don't think this is going to really help the people who already don't trust Facebook, because I don't think that most people don't trust Facebook. Rather, I'll remove those negatives and say I think most people trust Facebook, or at least most people don't give it a second thought. But the people who do think about it will hopefully realize that, why would you... It's not Facebook's fault that when you log in with Facebook to some website, they steal all your information and sell it to people. So I just don't think this is gonna, I don't know. The people who are really paranoid about Facebook and how it will track them everywhere and profile their personality, they're still doing that. They did not in any way inhibit their ability to do that here. If anything, they made it better by convincing people to sign in with Facebook in places where they might not otherwise.
Interesting. Colby, any thoughts?
What was the question? I got the question was how will this
will this help Facebook gain back some of the trust it's lost over the years?
Maybe. I mean, I think in a more specific scope, I think it might be a good thing in general for Facebook login as a thing. Because it feels like, I mean, I even I know when I log into things with Facebook, one of the things I'm immediately concerned about is whether or not it's going to post stuff to my Facebook.
Don't they already have that permissions thing, kind of like Android-esque? Or is that new?
Yeah, they have it, and it tells you, right? But it's still I have to go switch the. I always switch the privacy to only me, and I feel like this is the switching the privacy to only me of your information. So I mean, I think
only me and Facebook.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the compromise, right?
Yeah, I'm playing the people who don't trust Facebook in this conversation.
It might be easier to just say what Facebook doesn't have access to as far as your information goes. Just assume it does, and then point out what it doesn't, right?
I mean,
what?
I don't know, your social security number, your driver's license, there are some... Your credit cards, depending on whether or not you've purchased anything through Facebook.
That's true.
Oh, man.
Damn it, I should have bought all those Farmville points.
Can we go off the beaten trail here?
Oh, that's my favorite part of the show, Dan.
All right, we should talk about that thing Twitter did today or yesterday where you can buy things by tweeting about it. Can anyone explain what that is to me? Because I didn't look into it, and it sounds like a terrible idea.
I think it's... So I think once I explain it, you might change your mind. But this is how it works. So
Okay.
you go into your Amazon account, and you link it to your Twitter account.
Okay.
So it knows your Twitter account is associated with your Amazon account. Then, whenever you either tweet or reply to a tweet with an Amazon purchase link using the hashtag AmazonCart, it adds the product in that link to your cart. You don't buy it, but it is added to your cart. So the idea would be a company releases a product, tweets about a sale, and rather than having to go through several clicks of adding it to your cart, you can just one-hit reply with Amazon Cart.
Interesting.
Does that make you feel a little better?
My Twitter account was already connected to Amazon. Probably because I use it for Kindle sharing stuff.
Oh. What do you
And
mean,
Facebook.
Kindle?
So on the Kindle, you can highlight a passage and share it to your Twitter account.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And
Totally cool.
I have to say, one of the other things I really love about Kindle, too, is the popular highlights.
Yeah.
Where they curate the most common highlights through a book, and I find they're really, really great things picked out because they're so popular. And I actually do really like that.
Yeah. No, it really is.
Agree.
And someone else talk.
Blah, 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 blah. No,
Yeah,
so,
okay.
I mean, unless you guys have any other thoughts on anonymous login, it's relatively straightforward. We can move on to the other parts of the announcement.
I was just trying to find this. Yeah, so if you go to amazon.kindle.com, I might have talked about this before. You have to log in to Amazon again, but it's like this separate app that you can use to follow people on Kindle so that you can see what they highlight and what books they read. And you can look through the passages you've highlighted and the notes you've made on your books and stuff. It's just really cool.
I like the social stuff.
Yeah,
they should really market it more.
No one talks about
Yeah.
this sub website. It's really cool.
I agree.
All right.
Let's talk quickly about app links. See, so
Okay.
so I explained how Amazon Cart works, so you guys are going to have to explain to me how app links work, because that's more back-end stuff. But the user-facing side of it is, when you are using an app, how many times does this happen to you? You click a link, and it takes you to Safari, and that's great, and it's a little jarring. But then you want, say that link is to SoundCloud as one of their partners. It takes you to the SoundCloud mobile site in Safari. Well, that kind of sucks. Wouldn't you rather just open directly in the SoundCloud app? That's why they have an app. Well, let's be honest, iOS does a really crappy job of sending the links to the apps and having apps talk to one another.
Android does pretty well.
Yes, Android, I think, yes. And I think that's one of the reasons Facebook introduced what's known as app links to kind of make up for this. And the idea is that by putting code in your app, it will be able to send back and forth to other apps. So now, for example, on iOS, when you're in a call and you go to another app or to your home screen, now there's that little green bar at the top that says touch to return to call. It's going to kind of be like that, but for apps. So say you're in your email and you jump to SoundCloud, at the top of SoundCloud, it'll say, touch here to go back to your email, giving you one-tap access to go back to your previous app. They say this works across platforms, Android and iOS, and it is an open source project that Facebook is spearheading with a number of other high-end companies. Do you guys have any insight on the technical side of this?
I think Colby would know best. I understand superficially how it works. I don't understand. So I understand enough to say that. So you know how, Sean, most links on the internet are like http://. So like the Facebook, and this is called deep linking. Did they say that in there?
I think they. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So with deep linking, when you generate your web page for someone to view, you can detect what client they're using, and if they're on a thing, and I think you can also set some sort of cookie on the client if you know that they have the app installed, or something. That's what I don't know how you're supposed to know if they have the app installed. But assuming they do, you can put this like for Facebook it's FB:// and then whatever you want, and then you like send that thing you built to the app. Like when you click on it or when you get redirected to it, it sends all that data in that URL, in quotes URL, to the app, and the app can parse it apart and say like, oh, it's FB:// profile / this profile number. I'm going to load the profile view and fill it with this profile ID's information. I don't understand how a mobile web client is supposed to know if the app is installed, and I don't understand how you register on iOS which of those special URL formats go to which apps.
So, to your first question, I'm pretty sure Safari exposes that, like, because that's how they do the. Have you ever gotten like the prompts to install an app in Safari?
I thought that was a meta tag that you say this page has an analogous app and its iTunes link is this.
Maybe. I mean, it probably is a meta tag, but maybe it's. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Who knows?
I'm pretty sure it is because I rewrote our base template in Mustache. So I know there at least exists a meta tag that looks like that's what it would be used for, but I'm sure there's multiple ways of doing it.
Yeah.
What are we sitting around here talking for? Google knows the answer.
Google. Why watch our show when you can Google?
Yeah, we'll teach you to Google.
This is like an hour long. Like, let me Google that for you.
Yeah, I mean, while you're doing that, I'll talk more.
Okay.
You know, I cheered when they announced this because I think it is something that, especially in iOS, has been lacking for so long, and it's so frustrating. And I wish Apple would have taken the lead and really done it right, and instead they're leaving it to other companies, which is fine. And, you know, open source, cross-platform. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that, but let's be honest. I mean, this is something that should have been in iOS years ago.
I mean, at the same time, though, isn't it like semi-widely rumored that Apple will be addressing this in iOS 8 or something like this in iOS 8?
iOS can already do this. If it couldn't, Facebook wouldn't be able to do it right now.
Oh yeah, no, you can like. So I think that the new thing here is not that you can send like go to one app directly from another app. It's like a standardized way of doing it with like any app rather than having to like implement them on a per app basis, right? Like I'm sure like Facebook will take you to the YouTube app.
But typically how that happens on iOS is you click on a YouTube link from Facebook, Facebook opens up a web view, but then YouTube somehow knows that you have the YouTube app installed and then redirects you to this deep link URL, which then opens up the YouTube app.
That's crazy. Then I don't get what the new thing is. Then.
All right, maybe we should come back to this another time. You know, I don't want to sit here and spin our wheels.
I thought I understood what it was.
You know what? Maybe our fans out there should watch Change Mode Show to learn more about web programming.
Sean, are you telling us to shut up?
No, I'm not. I'm not, but I don't want people to be watching the show and be like, these guys are fucking idiots. Which we're not. We're very smart. But technology is hard. And I think the important thing here to know is that you, as a user, will hopefully get a more seamless app-to-app experience instead of being bounced between browsers and home screens and all that stuff nobody likes. And it's good for app developers. All this stuff, it's developers. I should have pulled that clip. But that's really what Facebook was all about.
I mean, that's what it is. I think we should talk about the FB Start thing. What do you guys think about that?
FB Start?
Now, that is the free crap Facebook is giving away to developers, right?
Free crap?
Yes. It's like... I hesitate. I mean, I don't think it's quite an incubator, but like you
they're
can
giving you
apply to
tools
this.
and resources.
Yeah, and they give you like free services and stuff.
So it's like the Microsoft Dream Spark thing?
Probably.
Where, like, if you want to start a business and not pay Microsoft thousands of dollars to start out with, they'll give you it for free in the hopes that eventually you will pay them thousands of dollars for it.
Probably, yeah.
That's a pretty good analogy.
It's the kind of thing that they give you like parse credit and like ad credits and Adobe Creative Cloud subscriptions and
now there's two levels, right? The first one is worth about $5,000 and stuff, and the second one's worth like $60,000.
Yeah.
In stuff. Or so they claim, I don't know how those numbers are calculated, but I think this whole announcement was 100% to be fair, it was a developers conference, but I think Facebook isn't stupid and realizes that, grandmothers sharing photos of their grandkids on Facebook isn't a good long-term strategy for the company. And it's with an increasing.
Wait! What about grandkids? What about grandkids sharing pictures of their grandparents on Facebook, though?
There is some money in that.
Yeah,
that's true. You can sell ads on that for like. Oh, I was gonna say something mean and I won't. So no, I think in an increasingly mobile web appification, Facebook needs to be in all these apps, and they're, in my opinion, certainly doing a better job than any other company out there to be sort of. It's interesting to me, and I wanted to talk about this as we got into the Facebook audience network. To call Facebook a social network is A, I think untrue, and B, a disservice to the company because they are not a social network. That's like calling Google an email provider.
Well, so I think the distinction there is that like Facebook.com is Facebook the company is no longer simply Facebook.com.
Right, exactly. That's exactly just like Google isn't just selling ads online and Microsoft doesn't just sell Windows.
I would argue that if you're going to say something like Facebook isn't a social network, then Google isn't a search engine, and they're both simply ad networks that happen to have social networks and search engines. Because you can say all you want that Facebook isn't just a social, like, if Google doesn't just sell ads, for instance, then they make no money. Then they went out of business 15 years ago.
Well, I agree that ads are the biggest part of both companies and their future strategies, but I don't think the ads define them.
Remember, Dan, Sean does love ads.
Oh, God, do I love ads. If you'd like to buy ad space on Don't Panic, email us. don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. We're for sale. That
was an ad.
It was an ad for ourselves. I did a change mode ad a little earlier. And where's my payment for that, guys? Come on. But no, I think it was this announcement that finally made me get it. Finally made me realize, why is Facebook buying Instagram but not changing the name? Why is Facebook buying Oculus Rift? Why is Facebook buying Parse and doing back-end services? And why are they doing it? And all of a sudden it all clicked to me. It's not about Facebook.com. It's not about the social network. It's not about how many friends you have or how many photos you share. It's about being part of all of it and getting its tendrils in everything. Because if you think
so they can sell more ads.
Dan, I'm not disagreeing with the fact that ads are what makes the money. But think of all the different areas. Google makes glass and self-driving cars, and that's cool. Obviously, it doesn't make the money, but
it could.
I couldn't tell you what Google is. I know where they make their money, but I don't think that's what defines them. And I think Facebook is becoming, and I think that's what killed companies like MySpace. You can't just be a social network. I don't think that works.
No, I
anymore.
agree.
That's I think why Twitter is struggling and why they're now starting to move into ads and they're starting to move into, Vine and things like that, and they're starting to kind of branch off. I don't know.
I think, especially with Google, and I suspect that it will be the same way with Facebook, you can look at all these things as not being ad-related, but at the end of the day, they have to be ad-related.
I
Like,
agree.
how much money will it make Google to know where you are driving and how often you drive and what the state of your car is?
Well,
If
yeah.
they had
And
a
like,
captive audience of all the people who need to get their oil changed, how much money would a local business pay to get an ad in front of only people who actually need to have their oil changed right now?
yeah, I mean, a lot of it is future bets, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like as much of the discussion on the internet and the news might suggest that like I don't think Facebook or Google or anyone is like using the data right now. It's like this data could be really great in 5 years or something when we have something to use it for.
Well, I mean,
Um,
they've owned Instagram for what, a year, 2 years, and they're still barely selling ads on there. You know, it's not like they've made a ton of money off of Instagram.
no,
You know,
I mean
it's a long term
Instagram.
play. I agree.
Yeah, and I think they also didn't want to like. I mean, if they had bought Instagram and immediately plastered ads all over it,
It's
everyone would
alienating
have stopped
users.
using. Yes, it's alienating. It would have been very unpleasant. Um, yeah, I don't know.
It's just as I try to watch these events as a common person, not one of you elites. And you know, you and your fancy San Francisco apartments and your international flights of fancy. And when I was watching this was really the first time in all the years I've been following what Facebook has been up to. The big picture finally clicked in my head, and that was just interesting to me. That I finally get what all these things mean and the direction they're going, and all of a sudden I thought very differently of Facebook in a more positive way.
That's good.
All right.
The yeah, I think the other thing I'll say is that like I feel like a lot of people feel that the better like there are always going to be ads and the better we can like target like the better ad the higher quality and more like relevant an ad we can give to any individual person the better experiences it is for them like it could and sure it's like maybe there someone is trying to make money off them but like it could also I mean hopefully in the best case it's the case that it's something that helps them as well so I
Well,
mean that's the like you know
well,
it's a mutually beneficial relationship I guess.
absolutely. I mean, you know, a fun fact, you know, your standard clickable banner ad on a desktop web page gets between 0.1 and 0.5% click-through rate of people who see the ad. You know, I mean, the click-through rates are awful. So I think if Facebook can do, you know, I'm reading in the article here, the mobile ad that you see in Facebook on your phone or tablet that advertise app installations, that's 59% of the company's ad revenue is those type of ads.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something you can really only do on mobile, and it's something, you know, I think Facebook is tough to do on mobile web. So, you know, banner ads suck. They don't work that well anymore. People got smart, and you know, if Facebook's going to be the people to make advertising work online, more power to them. I think they're doing it very smartly.
Yeah, and like the less websites I have to go to and see like the entire background of the site be a fucking huge ad, like just repeat background image of some stupid movie. It always surprises me the sites that are like that too, like reputable news organizations. And
well, they're desperate for the money, you know,
Yeah.
and that's I'll give Facebook all the credit in the world for being smart. And I think maybe once or twice in all the years I've used Facebook have I said that ad is intrusive, that ad is annoying, I don't care for that ad. But for the most part, you know, if I'm interested, I'll click. If not, I'll scroll by. I think they've taken their time to really figure out how to do ads without, you know, upsetting their users. So, good for them. See,
Yeah.
Facebook, we do say nice things about you.
Can we talk about real quick? Because I've been doing a lot of Amazon shopping recently.
Sure.
Why does Amazon show you ads for the thing you just bought on the homepage?
It's Dan. It's. I mean, do you want me to guess?
No, the thing that gets me, it's not even just on the homepage. It's like every other website you
Yeah,
go
oh
to.
yeah, right.
Next week half.
But you'd think on the homepage they'd like have a little more control. Like, sure, maybe there's like some weird time to live cache on external ads. That's fine.
Well, and they may not share with
homepage?
with the external ad cookies that the fact that you've bought something, just the fact that you visited a page. I mean, that's private logged in information. But if you're logged into the Amazon page, yeah, Dan, you're absolutely right. It should know.
But
Amazon
it's
should
in
know.
their best interest to make their offsite ads as relevant as their onsite ones.
Yeah, but isn't there some kind of privacy element with them sharing what you have and have not actually purchased?
No, they don't
Yeah,
have to
so-
share anything.
Yeah, Sean.
Explain to me how
ads
cookies
are-
work.
No, it has nothing to do with cookies. The
Okay.
ads are not like the ads don't go through the website you're looking at server. It's like a direct connection to Amazon. So Amazon chooses the ads that you see.
Amazon powers the ads. Okay.
So, like, if Amazon wanted to advertise on our site, they send you like a snippet of HTML, and you just paste it in, and that's
Oh,
it.
then yeah, they should know what you bought. That's dumb.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Assuming you're logged in, yeah.
and like it's like literally, I am the least likely to buy something after like in a given category. Like, I just bought a book, a travel book, and they keep showing me ads for the same country. I already bought a book. Clearly you understand the distinction because you're showing me those kinds of books. I bought one of them. I don't want to see anymore. I'm not looking for an extensive collection of all the different travel companies and the books that they write. No one wants that.
Dan, I'll tell you, I'm in the middle of an in-depth project on online display advertising, and the underlying fundamental concepts and technologies of display advertising hasn't changed much since Google introduced AdWords over a decade ago. So, you know, that's why I give credit to Facebook and companies like that who are trying to figure out how to do ads in a new way, because you're right, most of these companies just do the same thing they've always done. So... And if there's programmers out there who want to take on the challenge of advertising on the web, there's a lot of money in it. So figure that one out.
And a lot of companies trying to do it.
Oh my God. I mean,
My inbox is proof of that.
well, you know what? Let's, how about we advertise some smiles? Yes, we're going to make some people happy because we've got a trivia challenge. All right, good job, Colby, not talking during the theme music. And it's a short trivia challenge today, but I think you'll find it interesting. And it's centered around our last discussion. Here's some trivia on the history of online advertising.
Wow, so timely.
Well, I try and make it centered around the news as best I can. So they're all multiple choice. I'll read off the options, and you'll both have a chance to answer. And there's just 3. It's a short trivia, so... The first spam email was sent in what year? Was it 1978, 1981, 1985, or 1990? So that'd be 78, 81, 85, or 90. And we will go to Colby first.
85.
All right, Colby says 85. Dan?
81.
Dan says 81. The correct answer, 1978. It was sent to 400 people on ARPANET
Nice.
by a man looking to sell some computers from the from DEC, the Digital Electronics Corporation. And he got in a lot of trouble for doing that. But then again, he gets credit in the history books, so...
Dubious honor.
Started it all.
He started it all, unintentionally. So
He should be suing all these other people, all these ad networks.
Should have patented
He
it,
had
man.
prior art
Yeah.
on selling things online.
Missed opportunity for that guy. What a shame. I wonder what he's doing now. The next question. The first clickable display ad, they weren't called banner ads yet at the time, but essentially banner ad,
CDA.
was sold to what type of company? Was it a telecom company, an automotive company, a law company, or an entertainment company? Dan goes first.
Yeah.
Well, you have to go eventually. So the first clickable display ad was sold to what type of company? A telecom, automotive, law, or entertainment?
I'm gonna say automotive.
Automotive. Colby?
Well, Dan said automotive, so I'm gonna say law.
The correct answer is law. It was sold to the law firm Heller, Ehrman, White, and McAuliffe in 1993, though the first widely known banner ad was sold in 94 to AT&T. So congratulations, Colby, on that.
Thanks.
And we will go to our last question. This is a tough one. Which of these four is not a standard for measuring web ads? Which of these is not? Is it CPC, CPP, CPA, or CPM?
What does that mean?
Three of those are acronyms that stand for ways of measuring the effectiveness
All right.
and cost of. And I'll give you a hint.
Oh. Can you read them again slower?
Yeah, just read them again.
And
No hints.
They all start with CP, and that stands for cost per. I'll even give you a hint, okay?
Okay.
CPC, CPP, CPA, or CPM. One of those is not a real thing. Colby, do you have an answer?
Well, it's not CPC.
Okay. So is it CPP, CPA, or CPM?
I'm gonna say CPP.
Okay. Colby thinks CPP isn't a real one. Dan, what's your answer?
I'm gonna say it's not CPA.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the ones you didn't pick. CPC, cost per click. CPM, cost per million, which is the number of views it gets, no action. CPA is a real thing. Cost per action, that is when someone clicks through and either purchases or interacts with the site. CPP, I made up. Colby wins 2-0.
Jeez.
An overwhelming victory. Congratulations, Colby.
I think in the future we should write the answers on a piece of paper and then simultaneously hold it up to the camera.
Oh,
I like.
we'll have to do
Considering
that.
as long as Colby's video connection is stable enough, or I'll have to write it in really thick
Dude.
strokes on the paper.
That
Hey,
was a low blow, man.
Don't make fun of Skype. He's looking good so far. Don't curse it.
Yeah, it is looking good.
Fantastic fun trivia challenge. Congratulations, Colby. But we have to move on because we've got other news.
Oh, the thing's going now, isn't it?
The music's really good if you could hear it. I turned it off. So, are you guys middle school girls?
I think so.
No.
Oh, then you probably don't care because Snapchat got an update this week.
Snapchat chat.
Yeah, see what I did there? You may know that Snapchat recently reportedly rejected a $3 billion offer from Mark Zuckerberg. And they turned it down. So what did they do? They instead decided to take their app and kick it up to the next level. This past week, Snapchat released a large update, probably the largest since the app originally launched. And what they've done is they've added, among other features, text conversation. So now instead of sending just pictures, you can now send texts. They keep that trademark Snapchat deletes itself feature whenever you and the other person close out of the conversation. The other interesting feature is actually video chat. When you're in a text chat with a person and the two of you are both in the chat simultaneously, the little button lights up, and if you press it, you will be instantly video connected to the other person.
Whoa! I did not realize that.
Colby, you have Snapchat, right?
Yeah.
You want to give it a demo? I don't have any friends on Snapchat, so I haven't been able to try it.
Aren't we friends? Oh, you mean you want a video chat?
Yes,
right
I
now?
want to try because apparently
let's do
it's like high school. It's like a disaster for. There were teachers tweeting like this has been when the day the update came out. This is the worst day. That's
how they know they're winning.
I'm like, oh my
What?
god! If I had this in high school, I would have never gotten anything
I
done.
can't believe teachers are tweeting. Like that alone is.
See. So you see, there it goes. It says share live video. Press to. Oh my god! Look, it's Colby. Look,
I can't see you.
Let me put it up on the split cam. Oh, because I'm not pressing. See, so when you push the button, I see you. Now watch. If I push the button, there we go. You now. you now see me.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
I wish my face. Oh, I like how you can flip the camera.
Yeah. And the quality is like really good for a connection that you just kind of quickly threw together.
Wow.
So I'm actually, and then when you let go, it stops sharing. And you see,
Sean stopped sharing.
I did.
That's cool.
So the idea Snapchat claims is that it's supposed to be for like, not a planned Skype call like we would do for the show, but rather just kind of a serendipitous. You happen to see the person's online, so you quickly send them a video hello, see what they're up to.
That's cool.
Or if you know they're somewhere interesting. So,
I should read stuff when I see.
So yeah. So what do you guys think of this update? Do you think it's the right direction for Snapchat to go? What do you think this does for the company? If you have any thoughts at all.
So they added the video thing and they added the texting thing, right?
Right. So you can still send photos, the core use, but yes.
And both of those are fully ephemeral.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I think that doesn't change the company at all. Like,
it's still their core mission.
Ephemeral communication aficionados.
Is the text also ephemeral?
Yes. Now you can. I guess the way it works is if you tap the text, it will save it, but it tells the other person that you saved it. So they show in like the demo video, like someone sent you an address to a restaurant.
Oh.
You can tap it and save it, so when you need it later.
Interesting. Well, that's pretty cool.
Snapchat claims that just over 700 million snaps are shared every single day.
It's a lot of snaps.
All kinds of snaps. Lovely. I mean, honestly, I think this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Despite the fact that you don't use Snapchat.
Despite the fact that I don't use Snapchat. I want to use Snapchat, and here's why. Messaging is hard.
It is.
I have a friend, who I won't name, who has an Android phone. And occasionally I'll send him a picture of something. So I'll say, oh, look at this, or I'll say, you'll never guess what I'm doing at work, or whatever. And through SMS, it never works. I don't know if it's iMessage. I don't know if it's his phone. It's a pain. It doesn't work.
Is it me? Or is it someone else?
No, it's someone else.
Oh, I was going to say.
A mutual friend.
I see. I was like, is that why you never text
Colby,
me?
I text you all the time. You don't get those?
Actually, because you never text me.
Yeah, I see you enough every week. But yeah, so I think it's the same with video chat. Like, I had my sister on live on tape this past weekend. She had never used Skype before. So I had to get her to install it. I had to get her to get an account. She had to configure it.
Who's never used Skype before?
My sister. She's not a real tech person like I am. And so to me, this ability for Snapchat to say, you don't have to plan to meet someone online. It's just, hey, you're online, you tap it, you're instantly connected, and we saw how fast that was.
Yeah.
And you're talking with them. You can talk for them for 2 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. You just let go and they're gone. It's the same with text. It's the text, I could give or take, either way. But I think between the pictures and the video, the fact that they just make it so easy is awesome. And I really dig what they're doing, and I think more people should get away from this idea that Snapchat's for naughty pictures for teenagers or a way for kids to waste time in class, because I think the service could be used for a lot more than that. I think this idea of making messaging simple and, self-deleting not because you're trying to hide something, but just self-deleting because you don't need 1,000 text photos. 98% of the photos that people send me on Snapchat suck. Photos I never want to see again. That's the beauty of it. And you don't have to think twice about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's I think what I'm really digging about this update. And I think if they continue to add communication features, like I'd like to see them do groups would be really interesting. So you can have a group conversation going with pictures and texts and things like that. If they just keep adding that, I think they could create a really unique product that I don't think anyone else has been able to do. I don't know.
I mean, they started with a different thing than anyone else had started with, so it's kind of cool. Like, I think what I would like to see from Snapchat is not to succumb to the thing that a lot of companies succumb to, where they try and be other companies. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like Twitter and Google and Facebook and everyone tries to be like an Amazon, and like, you know, in one way or another. We've talked about this before. In one way or another, they're like all stepping on each other's toes. And I mean, obviously, like, those are all pretty big tech companies too. I'm not sure Snapchat is that big yet, exactly. But.
Well, you know, if the numbers they quote are right, they're the most popular photo sharing service anywhere.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know. Dan, do you have any?
No, I'm trying to figure out how to use Snapchat right now. I'm not even kidding.
You're so young and hip with the kids.
It's so
good thing you're not on a technology show or anything.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm gonna Snapchat you.
Oh god.
So Snapchat's great, and if you haven't tried it, you know, don't listen to all the hype and the rumors about it being this, that, and the other thing. It's actually I think a really great way to communicate, and I love using it. We have a friend who's over in Ireland. I pretty much only talk to her through Snapchat because she doesn't have SMS over there. iMessage is really annoying. And Facebook chat's okay, but it doesn't have, you know, the multimedia features. I will give Facebook credit. We ran out of time last week, and I'll talk briefly, but there was an update to the Messenger app for Facebook that I think did a really great job of integrating videos, better picture taking, and things of that nature. So,
oh yeah, that thing's great.
Yeah, miles
and
ahead.
It's finally iOS 7.
Yeah, it's a really good app, so I'm very satisfied with that.
Indeed. I'm a big fan of Messenger.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep adding features, I use it. I probably use it now almost as much as I use email. Really.
Oh yeah, I'm like, if I didn't have a job, then I would totally use it way more than that.
That's right. For those of us who don't have a life, we love Facebook. Well, while Dan tries to figure out how Snapchat works, why don't we move on, in the interest of time, to a company. Imagine if you took an app and then split it into two apps. That might sound crazy. But then again, it's Foursquare. So Foursquare, the company, began, you were able to check into places, you know, become the mayor, compete with your friends. But over time, it sort of added this log of information about places, restaurants that are popular, places that are recommended, deals, things of that nature. But Foursquare lately has kind of been confused as to what it is. You know, is it this check-in app? Is it this database of places? Well, Foursquare finally decided that rather than trying to keep refreshing its app and trying to add more and more things, they figured, well, why not just make two completely different apps and make them each great at what they do? So while neither of these are currently available, in the coming weeks, there's going to be a brand new app from the Facebook folks called Swarm. And
Facebook, you mean Foursquare?
Did I say Facebook?
You said
did.
It's all the same. Social media. It's not like I know anything about social media. Swarm is essentially the check-in side of Foursquare. So they call it a social heat map, but it is an app that you'll check in. You'll be able to see friends that are nearby. You will be able to ping them and say, you know, oh, I see you're here. You interested in doing stuff or hanging out, creating plans with people, and things of that nature. While at the same time keeping the Foursquare app, but releasing a big update in the coming months to that app, which will strip out the check-in stuff and instead focus on places, similar to kind of like a Yelp competitor, where you're going to focus on individual places, reviews, recommendations, specials, things of that nature.
So, are they actually stripping out check-ins from regular Foursquare? Like,
from everything I've read, yeah, it will be Swarm only.
Foursquare will be Yelp, and Swarm will be Foursquare.
Will be Foursquare Classic, yes.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Colby?
But I want my check-ins in Foursquare.
But I had this debate
Foursquare
with
is
someone
good.
today
The
where I
check-ins.
thought, sorry?
I think Foursquare is good because of the check-ins.
Yes.
Like that's part of the reason it's better than Yelp.
But there there are two modes that you use it in. There's the mode you use it in where it's passive and you check into a place and then you are essentially broadcasting your location to your friends and your friends know that you might be nearby when otherwise they wouldn't. There's that. And then there's the I'm actively staring at this thing trying to figure out where to go. And those are two different modes. I don't understand why they need to be two different apps. I could see how they might want to be two totally like custom experiences for those workflows.
Yeah, I mean, like, so I see how they would want to like split apart their experiences in that like I don't use Foursquare in a particularly social way. However, I do like check in regularly to places, and I don't like if it didn't have check-ins, like that would be a deal breaker. Like it's immediately stops being.
But why though? For the social part or for the recommendations part?
For the recommendations and for like the, I like the list like of places I've been and stuff.
Can I read you something?
Yes.
Okay. This is from the article on The Verge about the announcement of this. And Foursquare says one of the reasons they're, how can it personalize results if they're no longer checking in? And the idea is that Foursquare no longer needs people to check in to get recommendations. So not only have they collected 6 billion check-ins over the years, but now, if you haven't noticed in recent versions of the app, Facebook will actually, or Foursquare will actually predict, I keep doing that, will predict where you are based on past experiences, the Wi-Fi, the GPS, all these things, what they call pre-check-ins. And, for example, they say if you take your phone to 4 or 5 different Japanese restaurants over the course of 6 months, even without checking in, Foursquare will still learn that you like Japanese food and start making recommendations for you. It's aware without you having to do the actual action of checking in. For them, the only reason you need to check in is to let your friends know where you are, not necessarily to get recommendations.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I guess I'll buy that. Like, yeah, I mean, they do like with a reasonable degree of accuracy predict like where I am pretty well. Like when I get to a place, I get a notification like, "Hey, are you at Progressive Grounds?" Like or whatever. But that's the coffee shop down the street, or like Okay, I'm not sure.
So I've seen you check into that place, and I always assumed that it was some park. Like
it's not.
Okay.
They have really cheap coffee.
Nice. All right. Cool.
It's like I could go there, or I could go to the other coffee shop like 4 blocks away that costs like 3 times as much. Yeah, I don't know. I'm nervous though because I feel like that might take away the interaction for me. Like that's what I do with Foursquare. I just check in.
So, you don't just check in though. You check in because why do you check in?
I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure. I don't know why.
You just do it because you do it. I'm the same way.
It's what I do. It's like my routine. I like go to my favorite places and I check into them. And it's not so people I know I'm there because like the 12 people I'm friends with on Foursquare all live in New York. But
that's why it's great in New York, I'm telling you.
Yeah. But God, I don't know.
Colby, I exactly agree with you. It's funny to think about this, but I don't really, because of where I live, I don't really care where my friends are. I mean, it's nice occasionally get the pop-up to let me know they're in the area or something like that, or they go to a cool place and recommend it. But I don't use Foursquare for recommendations because I always forget they're in there. Like the other day I was looking for a cool local ice cream place because I was looking for ice cream. I went to Yelp. I probably, now that I think about it, I would have rather used Foursquare.
See,
but
especially
I forgot it was there.
Yeah, I mean, I find, especially if you're in a place, like, if you're in a dense place where there is, like, a decent amount of Foursquare usage, it's like, I find Foursquare, like, not even recommendations, but just, like, well, that's the thing. They're not reviews, they're tips, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, like, right there, you're not asking people to be douchebags. You're asking people to be positive. So, like, the stuff you learn about the restaurants is, like, stuff you actually want to know, which is great. But, yeah, I guess my point is, like, Foursquare has been my go-to for finding somewhere to go eat or something for a while. But I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. That's the other thing I do with it is, like, I go there. I will admit, I also go there to check the menu of places and to find out what time it's open.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's like 50%. That's I think I check in more often than I do any of that stuff, though.
So you're a Swarm user then?
I guess so, but I just
but
don't see any of my friends being on Swarm.
I kind of see it as almost like a Venn diagram, right? Where you have one circle of people who are really into the social and the checking in and seeing where their friends are going and getting the notifications, hey, your friend is nearby. And then there's a circle of people who say, I want to find a really cool restaurant I haven't been to. I wonder what the best thing to order here is. And sometimes those people will never overlap, but there is a section of people who want both. But I think what Foursquare is realizing is by trying to hit all of those people at the same time with one app, things get lost.
Yeah.
The other thing,
I guess, I was just gonna say, I mean, I guess it's the same company, right? So there's no reason like the Swarm check-ins can't inform Foursquare.
Oh, I would bet you log in with your Foursquare account to Swarm. You know,
right.
And I also have to say, you know, they've shown screenshots of what Swarm's going to look like, but neither of these apps are out, and neither have they talked about details about what the new Foursquare app will be. So, you know, it's still early. We don't know exactly what that will entail.
Yeah.
But
also, I feel like Swarm was the thing I did my junior year interactive media project on.
They stole your idea.
Yeah.
It's called Flock, though. No, I'm psyched because I really wanted that to be a thing, and
You just
I
need to get all your San Francisco friends on Swarm. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you know, I don't know. Like, I just hope it happens. I guess because like no one's on Foursquare, but like.
All of my friends in New York are on Foursquare.
Yeah.
That's what makes it amazing.
All of my best Foursquare experiences have been in New York City. Like that time we were at Shake Shack and then Miriam was there.
Yeah.
I will say recently Miriam was in San Francisco, and I know this because she checked in on Foursquare.
Yeah. No, it's things like that. And when people from Marist are in New York City, I know that they're there.
Yeah.
If
that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. All right. I'm sold.
All right.
Okay.
I think it's one of those optimistically but cautious, you know.
Yeah. I think it's a good point that like I use Foursquare for two things. One is finding restaurants and two is checking in places. And when I'm finding restaurants, I'm not checking in. And when I'm checking in, I'm not looking for restaurants.
Exactly. I think you nailed it. And by trying to put the two together into one app, doesn't make sense.
So I was thinking while we were having this discussion, the Venn diagram of Twitter users, there's the Twitter users who will never tweet. They only follow people. Should they have their own app? And should the celebrity PR teams who have most of the followers and do the least amount of engagement also have their own app?
I don't know if it needs an entire separate app, but I think there should be additional features to support those users. Certainly.
That was just a thought. I was just thinking, what other experiences could benefit by being split off because there's two different ways of using it?
You know, and it's interesting to me. I'll super briefly mention that Google announced Google Docs and Google Sheets as individual apps on iOS.
Mm-hmm.
And what's weird to me is in the Google Drive app, you used to be able to edit documents right in Google Drive. They actually took away that functionality in Drive and put it into these two separate new apps. And I had to think to myself, like, for quite a minute, like, why? what is the advantage to having separate apps to do these? And I couldn't really figure out a good reason. I was actually upset, because it having, and the Sheets app only will find the sheets in your Google Drive and then take them out of all their folders, so it's just a list of sheets from all over your Google Drive. It's a very weird experience, and I don't think that was necessary. So, I kind of see this idea of app splitting.
Yeah, I saw their reviews on the Sheets app.
It worked great in Drive, and it works great in its own app. I mean, the functionality is fine. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just whining over nothing. It's up to you guys. We're running a little long. We can talk about OS X, or we can move on to picks.
Can we talk about OS X briefly?
Okay. I've got nowhere to be. So we've teased before, WWDC is next month, June 2nd through the 6th, in San Francisco. Of course, we'll have wall-to-wall coverage here. Don't panic.
So many walls.
All the walls. We'll have wrist coverage for the watches, TV coverage for Apple TV, you name it, we'll cover it. But now is the time of year where we start to get the rumors. And there's a rumor going around from 9to5 Max Gurman, who's rather reputable, that the OS X 1010 we'll see a big refresh this year, including an end-to-end redesign, which is supposedly Apple's most comprehensive since launching OS X over a decade ago. It's going to take design cues from iOS 7 and that flattening, while the fundamentals of OS X stay the same. It's more of a visual overhaul, including sharper corners, more white space, and iOS 7-like toggles.
iOS 7 like toggles?
That's just, I'm just reading the sort of, when you slide in, it's green and white. When you toggle things on and off, I don't know.
I want it.
Are you sure?
Do you?
Yeah, I think so. Imagine Windows 8, but not touch. Just nice.
Yeah.
I mean, no, because I had this discussion with someone the other day when this news came out, and it was this idea that mobile operating systems should be mobile operating systems and desktop operating systems should be desktop operating systems. They're different machines. They require different operating systems. And this merging of them, I think, on some level is doomed to fail. And I realize this is just colors and, angles and white space and things like that. And I guess that comes down to personal taste, but, it's a slippery slope before, rumors for years that they are going to eventually merge iOS and OS 10, which is possible, but I don't want to see Apple going in that direction just for the sake of making everything look the same, because honestly, everything shouldn't look the same.
Yeah, but if you look at an iOS 7 app and ye old OS 10 Cocoa app, the OS 10 Cocoa apps look really dated now. Like, metal and bubbles, like glass button things.
That's true.
It's weird. And in fact, the new version of OmniFocus for Mac, which I can't show because I messed it up, looks very much more like iOS 7 than it does the traditional Mac app.
Interesting.
Anyways, I'm into it.
No, it is interesting, and while I've gotten used to iOS 7, I'm still happy to say I don't like it. I don't think.
Happy to say.
I know I am. I think
you'll be pleased to know that his opinion has not changed.
I continue to dislike things. I'm still not satisfied with the design style, and if this rumor is true, it's another excuse for me to stay with Windows. So there you go. I'm grumpy. What can I say?
Yeah. I mean, I liked iOS 7 so much I bought an Android phone. But I mean, I think there are a lot of really nice iOS 7 apps. I don't think any of Apple's apps are those apps.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I guess I hope they've learned from the. I guess my problem not my problem, but the thing that concerns me is that like iOS 7 is like it's pretty flat and it's pretty like minimal and which I think is okay for the general complexity of the tasks that you're doing on a phone. I'm not sure it's okay. I'm not sure that's enough for what you're doing on Mac OS 10. Like, is that like? Can you picture a like iOS 7e Photoshop, like that still does all the Photoshop things? Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, I think it can. I just don't know if you want it to, and I think that's the exact
Right.
problem with Windows 8.
and go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, they push, the tiles, they look good, and the full screen apps, they look good, but that's not how you use a desktop computer. And I hate to see Mac go in that direction.
Maybe it's just that maybe it's just the case that like it hasn't matured as a design paradigm yet. So like we're still like, I mean, I'm sure they'll figure it out. Like I'm sure people are going to figure out how to make great software that looks good and matches the thing that's going on. The more I think about it too, the more I'm like, yeah, it does look pretty dated. It looks kind of goofy right now. Just looking at it. I don't know.
Well, you know what? You'll just have to wait till WWDC to find out.
I guess so. When is that again?
June 2nd through the 6th.
Woo.
And then a week or two after that is Google I/O. So it's
Google.
going to be a busy month. I'm excited. It should be fun. Why don't we wrap up the news and we'll move on to our picks of the week. Colby, don't say anything. I'm going to play a theme here. Okay, you ready? All right, go.
What?
Okay, there we go. It's over. You can talk now.
You should have a countdown timer on the wall behind you.
I should. Or like an on-air, off-air type sign. Applause. I don't know, something. When I move back into Mom's house, I'll probably have less space to work, so we'll see. Let's talk picks. I'm going to volunteer to go first because mine is a quick one. Have you guys visited coffeeandbeer.tv?
I have.
It is the website for the Coffee and Beer Podcast Network at coffeeandbeer.tv. Do you think it looks good?
Pretty legitty.
Pretty legitty, as Colby would say. Well, would you believe someone with zero web programming experience, were able to build such a beautiful and full-featured website?
No.
You would think I would have several computer science degrees as someone who made this website, wouldn't you? I'm surprised Google hasn't called me up to come out and work for them. Well,
1,000,000 degrees.
Well, I'll tell you, it would be because I didn't code it. I use Squarespace at squarespace.com. If you're not familiar, Squarespace is a web hosting platform that hosts your site, but also offers a series of templates and easy-to-use tools to create a website for people with no actual programming experience like me. I've tried all the different sites, your WordPresses and your bloggers, and, they look like crap, and they upsell you on everything, and it's a pain in the ass. And Squarespace is just no BS, and I found it really easy to use. And the prices are competitive, and they give you unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, a free domain name. I mean, they give you a lot for free. If you want to sell things, they'll do stores, and you can sell things right through your page. And they do all the e-commerce stuff for you. So visit coffeeandbeer.tv, and if you like how the site looks, you got to check out Foursquare. Oh my God, Squarespace.
You're like a name behind.
I'm dyslexic today. I don't even know. And they've got like a dozen or so templates that just look really good. And if you don't want to customize your site and want to throw something together quickly, fine, you can do that. But I put a lot of work into customizing Coffee and Beer, and even though it's a template, it still looks pretty custom. And I've found it, every day I'm changing the website when new shows go up and we go live. And the software makes it really easy. It's one of those products I'm happy to give them my money because I by far get the value back. So squarespace.com. Check it out. You get a 2-week free trial. You don't even have to give them a credit card. So you can make a quick site, play around with it. That's what I did. And I was so satisfied I paid them. So there you go. If you're not like Colby and Dan...
if you're not like Colby.
If you're not... Yeah, exactly. If you've never heard of a GitHub then you should check out Squarespace. Okay.
Speaking of GitHub, can I go next?
Sure. You segued right into that one, so go for it.
So if you have heard of GitHub, you might know that they have this funky service called GitHub Pages, which basically lets you host static websites on GitHub for $0. $0. And you can, like, if you have your own domain, you can point your own domain to it. So I use GitHub to host my personal domain because they have all kinds of things that do stuff that I don't want to deal with. So like if you go to colbyr.com, that's a GitHub page. And one thing that has been mildly annoying is that like sometimes I don't want to like, you know, power up Vim to like write a blog post.
Wait, what? Get out.
Believe it or not, sometimes I don't. And like often I've like wiped my computer so I don't have my Git repository checked out. So I have to like check it out again, and then I have to go to the Jekyll docs and like look up how the fuck to format a post. And it like it's convenient but also very not convenient at the same time. And the other day I stumbled across this thing which I sort of wanted to make for a while, but then I realized I didn't actually want to make it myself. But then it turns out someone else made it for me, which has been happening a lot lately, which is great. I love it. I feel like some people get upset when people steal their ideas. I'm just psyched, I think. But that's a really great one, Dan.
You're welcome.
Deco jocks. I'm gonna share my screen here if I can. I don't know how. But in any case, I found this website called
Conversations Share Screen.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I found this website called pros.io, and basically what it does is you authorize it on GitHub, on your GitHub account, and it connects to all your repositories, and you can just go in and like it works. It's meant to work with like Jekyll sites, so you can go in and just like edit posts. Like I can edit these posts and it'll commit them straight to GitHub, and it has this crazy markdown editor, which is awesome. And like I can add a new file, and this is all I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted, and now I have it, and it's free as far as I can tell.
Sweet.
Living the dream. Yeah, so that's my story.
Very cool. Pros.io.
And I have a second pick, which is this beer I've been drinking. It's the 21st Amendment Brewery Back in Black IPA. And I remember Tom Crescenzi was the person who introduced me to this beer. But
nice.
Now I live in San Francisco, and 21st Amendment is like in San Francisco. Their brewery is in San Francisco, so I drink it all the time, and it's great. You should have some.
You're still sharing your screen, Colby. Just so you know.
Oh man, I tried to show you guys the beer.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can try again.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
21st Century is good. I've had those guys before.
It's 21st Amendment.
That's what I meant to say. What the hell is going through my head today? Oh my god! You know what? I'm on.
Sean's falling apart.
I was falling asleep before the show, so I had like 3 glasses of Coca-Cola. Like I'm like cracked out. Dan, let's talk about your pick. But before we talk about your pick, I want to mention to our fabulous listeners out there that if you're a fan of Don't Panic and you want to support us, we are now an Amazon affiliate. So whenever we talk about items on the show that are available through Amazon, and you're like, God, I'm going to go out and buy that, make sure you do it through our don'tpanic.io page. At the bottom of each episode, you'll see links for our pick. That link will be the affiliate link. So when you click through there, we get a small percentage of your sale. It's a great way to support the show if you're just buying the cool stuff we talk about anyway.
One of those cool things is this thing. So I have an old phone. The battery is kind of shot. I don't really want to get a new phone, but I kind of do. Don't be surprised if next week I have a new phone. But I figured this would be useful anyways. So my phone kept dying, so I was like, screw it, I'm going to go on Wirecutter and buy the battery pack they recommend. But as with every other time I've ever gone on Wirecutter specifically to buy something, the thing that I wanted to buy was under review. So I just bought the one they recommended before, which is this thing, the Satechi Power Base. It'll be in the show notes thing with an affiliate link. But it's really cool. The coolest part of this is it's a big battery. I don't know how much it says here. 10,000 whatever milliamp hours.
Yeah.
Milliamp hours, which is a lot. And it fits right in my messenger bag, right in one of the compartments. So if I need to charge my phone, I turn it on by pressing this button, at which point these things light up. There are 2 USB ports, one of which has a higher amperage, which can charge like iPads or other things, or just charge a phone faster. So I plug my cable in, then I plug my phone in, which conveniently enough is about to die, and it says it's charging, and then I just stick them both back in my bag and walk around like that. It's fantastic. This thing, I've not pushed it to its limits at all. I believe it can charge this phone at least twice total. Yeah, totally cool. Check out the Satechi Power Base. Just get an external battery so you don't have to worry about it. It was only $25. Is that true?
It said $60 on it.
Oh, never mind. That must have been something else.
Dan must have been drunk.
Yeah.
Classic Dan.
It's 25% off on Amazon right now.
It's like $25.
Yeah, practically the same.
That's cool. I usually use like my MacBook and I like plug it in and
yeah,
in my
but you have to open up your
bag.
MacBook to do that, which is you can't really do
on the subway.
Right.
Fair enough.
It works well in like a car or on a train, but
I feel like an
much more
external.
convenient.
I feel like an external battery is one of those must-have accessories.
Yeah, I can charge my camera with this, my iPad.
Yep. It's
Wherever.
a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean if it's USB, you can charge like anything basically.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, some awesome picks, some great news. Wow, I thought we had a great show.
I think so too.
Congratulations, gentlemen. We thank all of you out there for listening to us not live this week, but we will be back live next week. Thanks, YouTube. With our live stream, we do it every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and you can get that at don'tpanic.io, our website. I want to remind everybody it is our May Madness giveaway month. Woo! Yeah, get pumped. I'm spending my cash on you, the fans, so get pumped because we're giving away t-shirts, we're giving away mugs, we're giving away branded stuff like you can't believe. And you know how much it costs you to enter? How much would you pay?
I don't know. I would accept $10 from people.
$10 an entry. Well, you know what, Colby? How about no dollars an entry?
I don't know about that.
Do I have your attention? Does that sound sketchy?
Yeah.
Well, be suspicious, because we're giving away all kinds of cool stuff. You just got to go to coffeeandbeer.tv/giveaway, fill out the form, use code word launch, so we know you're a fan of Don't Panic, and you will be entered to win. We're giving away a bunch of stuff. And while you're there, check out our other shows. You can see Colby and Dan every week on Change Mode. That tapes Wednesday nights at coffeeandbeer.tv. Which is a fantastic show, and I highly recommend. If you like technology, you got to watch it. Even if you're not a programmer, I know, as I've claimed many a time, to know nothing about programming, but their show is great, so I recommend you watch it. And of course, our website, don'tpanic.io, links there to audio, video, feeds, Facebook, Twitter, all the good stuff. Is that everything?
I think so.
I'm like winded.
Oh.
We've got a lot of things. Sweet. Well, we thank all of you out there for joining us. We'll be back next week with more tech news. But until then, that concludes Don't Panic. We'll see you next time.
Later.
This show is brewed fresh weekly by the Coffee and Beer Podcast Network. Get all our shows at our website, coffeeandbeer.tv.